Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin', trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Yep. Trippin'. Trippin'. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Yep. Trippin' with Theo Bowl. Let's go.
Caliente.
Trippin', trippin', trippin'. Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bold. Tripping with Theo Bold. Yep. Tripping with Theo Bold. Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping. Yep. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bold.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Tripping with Theo Bold. I'm your host, Andre Theo Bold. Welcome to the show. Glad y'all could tune in. Bam. AT is where it's at on most forms of social media, so make sure you follow me. So, man, you know what I'm tripping on today, man? Do you know what I'm tripping on today? Man, I saw that Masters of the Universe, man, and they did my dog Cringer dirty, man. They did my dog Cringer dirty, man. I thought I knew when I saw how they were marketing the movie, I knew the bull job was in. I don't want to cuss yet because I want to make sure I get past the 2-minute mark so YouTube don't bury this in the basement of the YouTube video files because I used choice language too early. But nah, man, they did my dog Cringer dirty, man. Oh man. Like I knew it was too good to be true. Matter of fact, let me just make sure my audio is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Just make sure this is did my dog Cringer dirty, man. There we go. Yeah, I'm sounding crisp. Unlike my beard. Anyways, now let me stop messing around, man. Yeah, man, they did my dog Cringer dirty, man. I feel bad. You know what I feel bad for, man? I feel bad for new kids or the new He-Man audience that didn't get the full effect of Cringer. That's what I feel bad for, man. You know, because Cringer, man, was a critical part of Masters of the Universe, man. It was a critical part, man. And I knew the bullshit was in when I saw the posters, man. Like it looked too good to be true. Like, you know, when you see something that just looks too good to be true, you're like, man, they teasing me. I know it's too good to be true. I knew when they had the intro, like when they had that tiger, like the intro tiger for the movie joint is, and I knew they were gonna put Cringer in there. But when I saw Cringer, I was like, nigga, that's just a regular green tiger, nigga. That's fuck, man. So let me get started on breaking this down, man. I don't know where to really start, man. Let me talk to all my He-Man fans out there, man. Or better yet, I'm talking to everybody. I don't want to alienate nobody. Got to get a sip of this water. But man, so Cringer and He-Man go together like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I'm saying? Like they go together like Chick-fil-A nuggets and fries or waffle fries. You know, they go together like it's a package deal, man. You can't skim. Like, you know what this is like? This is like going to Chick-fil-A and getting like them nuggets and they give you half of a burnt waffle fry in your container and that's it. And that's it. It's like, man, which one of y'all fat motherfuckers ate my shit? You know what I'm saying? Like you feel robbed, you know? Like if they would have got Cringer right in the movie, I would have just chilled. I would have been cool with them just getting Cringer right, but they didn't get Cringer or Battle Cat right, man. And yeah, so Cringer, in my opinion, is the comedy relief of He-Man, right? And not only is he the comedy relief, it's like he does so many, it's like he's an integral part of He-Man, right? Like Cringer's supposed to be like he represents all of us, right? Like a lot of us, like it's this is a book that's out. It's called The Confidence Gap, you know. And if you get it, I mean, if you, I think you should read it, right? I'm not promoting the book. I mean, I am in a way, but it's a very strong book. And The Confidence Gap, like the number one rule of confidence is, the actions of confidence come first, where the feelings of confidence may or may not come at all, right? And it's kind of in line with what the whole role of Cringer is, right? Cringer is Adam's like best friend in the cartoon. He's a cat that's chilling. He wants to relax. He wants to just enjoy the good life. But once danger starts coming around, he's scared of everything and anything. Like he's scared of any and everything, man. And the cartoon, man, just the way they did the cartoon, man, was hilarious because his eye, like when he's relaxed, he's chilling, but once he gets the little sense of danger, his eyes start bucking, and he's starting to look to see if the coast is clear. Like that in and of itself is funny. He's just looking around to make sure everything is safe. You know, um, and he says these little like he always. Oh man, Cringer, man, just like to me, Cringer is the funniest cartoon character ever. Like I can watch He-Man and I can watch Cringer and just laugh at their joint, man, because it's so believable. I mean, it's so like the mannerisms are so believable, right? I know a lot of people like that. Shit, I'm like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he just be looking around and once he like it's like he knows when danger's coming. It's almost like when you have animals like how animals can sense an earthquake. I mean, you might not know that, but when you live in California, right? If you hear birds starting to like chirp and all the animals making noise for no reason in unison, nigga, and an earthquake is coming in about 5 minutes, right? That's one of like the eighth wonders of the world, I guess, if you want to call it that, right? It's how do animals know when an earthquake is coming 5 minutes in advance, right? But that's like Cringer, right? Like Cringer knows danger is like 5 miles out, and he's like, you can see his eyes start bucking, and he's looking around, and he's hoping that Adam doesn't get sucked in, right? Like he wants to keep Adam safe. He's like, Adam, come on, Adam, no, I think we're better over here. And then Adam tries to get like he gets courage or whatever, and he's like, okay, it's like this is like a job for He-Man. And then Cringer just puts his head down. He's like, oh, I knew you would say that, you know. And when Adam, calls on the power of Castle Grayskull to become He-Man, he uses the power of Grayskull to turn Cringer into Battle Cat. And there's a special episode that was dedicated to that in the cartoon where the sorceress told He-Man or told Adam that, hey, look, you have a friend that you'll least expect that'll show up, you know, um, in the time of battle. You know, those aren't the exact words, but that's like the gist of the cartoon. And then the first time He-Man transforms Cringer into Battle Cat, he's surprised. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna come to battle with me? Like what?" And man, it's just the perfect setup, classic punch, man. Like it's the perfect setup and just punch, right? It's like Cringer he wants no part of trouble. He don't want anything to do with it. He's trying to keep Adam away from the trouble. Adam's like, nah, we gotta turn into He-Man. Or I gotta turn into He-Man. And then Cringer is like his best friend, so Cringer gonna stay right by him and watch. he's going he gonna watch He-Man. He gonna watch Adam transform into He-Man, and then at the last second, he's gonna try to run away. Well, there's two depictions of it, right? And in the original '80s cartoon, Cringer's doing this, like you see on my thumbnail, Cringer's doing this the whole time, just watching him, and he doesn't want to turn into Battle Cat, and then He-Man points the power towards him, and he turns into Battle Cat. And then in Revelation, like I like their choice on how they did their Cringer, right? Because Cringer kind of just sat there and watched him. You watched Adam turn into He-Man, and then at the last second, He-Man just looks at him, and then Cringer just runs away, and then he jumps, and he's jumping in slow motion, and he's like, no, and then the power touches him, and then he turns into Battle Cat, and that shit is hilarious. And then in the cartoon, what makes it even funnier is Cringer's basically Adam's, or is He-Man's hype man, right? He's transportation and hype man. Those are the two purposes of Cringer or of Battle Cat. He's the hype man and he's the transportation, or short term or short distance transportation, right? That's all Cringer does, man. Cringer, when he becomes Battle Cat, he gonna talk a whole gang of shit. Like, Cringer talks a lot of shit and gives orders. He doesn't give orders, but he just like talks a lot of shit, and he's He-Man's hype man. And then the most he'll do is push somebody over. And that's funny, man. To go from, someone that's timid and is looking out for danger, doesn't want to get in any trouble or anything. But then when a fight comes and it's time to fight, all of a sudden, like, you make all this noise, rah, 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 and then you don't do shit, nigga. That is funny, man. Like in the cartoon, man, Battle Cat be talking shit. He be like, come on, He-Man. He's like, yeah, give him with the one. Yeah, give him your 1-2. Like, he just starts talking all that shit. He'll start talking trash to the enemies and shit. He'd be like, come over here, you big doofus. Raw. And then he'll run out the way, and be like a decoy to kind of distract the enemy to help He-Man out, right? When really He-Man don't need the help, but it just adds to the effect of He-Man, man. And to me, the movie dropped the ball, man. They dropped the ball big time on that, man. And when I saw the opening image of Cringer, because first off, they tried to cover too much, man. Like, they covered Adam as a kid. They should have just cut to the shit when he was like, they should have like, there was no need for no child actor for the joint. They should have just had him as like early adult, late teen Adam and Cringer. Just get to that point. Okay, if you want to send him to Earth, cool, send him to Earth. But at least he's built up a relationship with Cringer, because the movie, the way they wrote it, it was like Cringer was this little cat that, he was like a little baby tiger that they had or whatever. And they had a voice actor. I think the voice actor that played young Cringer was like the son of the voice actor that played Battle Cat, or played the older Cringer in the movie, right? See, that's that nepotism shit, man. Sorry, I mean, I'm not trying to hate, but I'm just like, yo, that's like, if the end result served the purpose, I wouldn't mind it. But it's like the end result wasn't met, in my opinion, right? The requirement was not met. But no, like, when I saw the opening image of baby Cringer, I'm like, he's a little too fluffy. I'm like, yeah, this shit ain't it. And then when Adam went to Earth when he was a youngin', if you think about it, there was no chance for him to really build up that strong relationship, between him and Cringer. And so then he basically grows up on Earth, and then he's trying to find this sword. Then when Tila comes to find the sword from the signal or whatever, and they take him back, the moment Adam got back to Eternia, the moment he was in the spaceship, and he didn't ask, hey, where's Cringer, or how's Cringer? Like, he didn't even ask about Cringer, right? And to be honest, it was like, yeah, there was no need for him to ask, because he was young, and the cat was just it was still new to him, so it wasn't like that tight of a bond. But he was like more interested in Tila than Cringer. And in the cartoon, man, Cringer was like his right hand man, and Cringer's called Cringer because he's always scared, right? There's an episode in the original cartoon in the 80s where Um, Adam finds this cat. He doesn't have a name yet, and everyone, all the kids are calling him a Cringer, right? Like, oh, he's a Cringer because they're making fun of him because he's scared of everything, right? So the movie totally missed the they dropped the ball on that, man. Like he's supposed to be scared of every and anything, you know. If you want to make him look like a real tiger, cool, but there should have been mannerisms or something, that kind of depicted that, right? And then what else about Cringer, man? Like they just made him too fluffy, man. Like Cringer is like, you gotta think he's always worried, he's always like wiry, so he's kind of like skinny, you know. In the 80s cartoon, he's not skinny, but he's like he doesn't look like a healthy tiger, right? Is the point, right? That they had to kind of depict. He doesn't look like a healthy tiger. And then in Revelation, he looks like real skinny. If they wanted to even take it another approach, like if they even wanted to take another approach, you know, I wouldn't have been mad if they went extreme and made Cringer just a regular cat, right? And then when he turns into Battle Cat, it's like he turns into this green tiger. Like I wouldn't have been mad at that at all, you know. But man, so he comes back to Eternia after all these years, doesn't ask for Cringer, doesn't wonder where he's at. Everyone's in this dungeon, and then Tila's like, "Oh yeah." All of a sudden, Tila's like, "Oh yeah, I've been keeping your friend for you." Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. That shit was weak. That shit was horrible, man. And then the part that it just got worse from there, man. Like he was basically Battle Cat the whole time, right? There was like they basically were like, the choice they took or the route they took was he was Battle Cat the whole time. He really wasn't scared, you know, and um, yeah, he just really it just it was like Adam just asked him to turn into, like he just asked him to turn into Battle Cat, and it wasn't even like it was like he was begging. He was like, "Hey man, come on, hey," and that was the thing that felt forced, right? Is they tried to basically make it seem like they had this relationship or this friendship all along when he was out of his life for most of, like according to the movie, he was out of his life for most of his life. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, yeah, remember that thing you used to do? Hey, I think it's time for you to turn into Battle Cat. Come on, man, turn into Battle Cat. I'm just like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. That was like that shit was some lazy ass shit. And then he's Battle Cat the whole time. And then he's attacking people, or when he's in the palace, he's attacking people or whatever. And then in the end of the movie, that's when, you know, like they do this whole thing where it was hey, yeah, He-Man, go do your thing, He-Man. Yeah. So to me it was like, this is what I said last video. It was like there's no point in him in turning back to Adam if everyone knows that he's He-Man, right? And they didn't give any criteria for how he powers down from being He-Man. And then even in the jail scene, when he got knocked out by Skeletor, he magically had his clothes back on. It's like they didn't explain none of that shit. So it's like, what makes He-Man turn back into Adam, right? They didn't like that. They didn't explain any of that, and they could have made that up because there was room for innovation there, right? Like that's what we all want to know, right? And however they do it, it's fine. It's just that they have to do it and make it make sense, or not logical sense, but it has to be consistent with whatever rules they established. But man, when he turned into Battle Cat and just ran in to go face Skeletor, I'm like, man, this shit is horrible, man. This ain't it. And then at the end it was like a joke, right? Like they got all the details right. All the little small details, man. They gave you green face trap jaw. They gave you uh they gave you a dope Ram Man, right? They gave you a dope Mechanic. Like they did all the details perfectly, right? They even with Duncan, they gave Duncan his chrome, like they made his helmet like smaller, which made sense. I mean, however they did it, I mean, but you knew it was Duncan because it had the gold markings because he was the leader, right? Or he was the man at arms, you know. Um, and then they had the green, you know, and then they had the little chest plate, and they didn't make the big funnel thing come out of his chest, out of the chest plate. You know, they had all like they didn't need to do that, but they had little nods to, hey, we know y'all looking for this, or hey, look, we're gonna pay attention to this detail. And then even in the end, they gave Tila her little tiara or whatever in the end. They did the He-Man laugh in the end of the movie. They did the whole ha 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 ha, like they did the whole He-Man laugh shit. But man, they bullshitted with Cringer. I said Cringer, but man, they bullshitted with Cringer, man. They just that was all marketing. See that movie was marketed to me for people like me. They were like, oh yeah, we want to get the old He-Man fans in there. So if we just hey, if we throw a green tiger in there, then yeah, that'll get them. And then in the end, when you know He-Man is like, or when sorry, when Adam is like, hey, let's go do the He-Man thing, and they made fun of his name, and he had an outfit and a costume or whatever. They were like, oh yeah, we got to go change. Like they got like a distress signal, and then all of a sudden they went to go change, and then they cut to, and then they had Battle Cat wearing this shit, and then He-Man wearing this shit, and that was it. That was the end credit. So the poster was horrible, yo. They basically led you to believe that Battle Cat was gonna be wearing that shit when he fought or when he was in action, and that was just all. It was just all. It was just a costume. It was just a costume, man. And to me, that's where they dropped the ball, man. Because the sorceress is like, she explained in the cartoon like hey, like you're gonna have a person or you're gonna have a friend of yours um that you least expect that's gonna be like your sidekick or whatever. And they could have went into the whole shit where the armor is like magical armor, where this is how people don't know your identity, right? Is the armor is like Superman's glasses, right? Where you know when you wear it, people aren't like the armor does something to make you look different in the eyes of whoever's looking at you, right? And they could have played off that so many different ways, man. But man, Cringer, man, they and the other thing too, man, the perfect person they could have got to play Cringer, man, is Tony Baker, man. Tony Baker would have been the perfect role. If you don't know who Tony Baker is, man, one of the funniest comedians out there, man. He does the like the dope thing about Tony is he does stuff on social media that's separate from his stand up, right? So he does the animal voiceovers and he got big off of doing animal voiceovers on social media. 'Cause I remember the first one he did. The first one he did was the ram with the cram. It was like a ram. It was no, it was a goat or like a baby ram or something in India. And it was this goat that was trying to like ram this person off of the bike. Not trying to, it was like, and these people kept trying to get up. These people kept trying to get away or get off on his bike, and this ram or this goat would take two steps back and then cram, and then Tony did the voiceover for that joint, man. And he did so many voiceovers for so many different animals, man. That would have been the perfect crossover. That would have been the perfect. I'm like me personally. I was hoping when I went into the theater that I was gonna be surprised just to hear his voice. I was just because they kept the casting for Cringer like pretty quiet. Like I was on the internet looking up who's playing the voice of Cringer, who's playing. Just okay. If they're keeping it quiet, it must be a surprise, right? And then Tony has a special out, or has a special that it's been out for a while. It's called Scaredy Cat, right? Perfect. It's like that role was meant for Tony. Tony was meant to play that role, man. You know, um, because he would have did Cringer justice, man. That shit would have been hilarious. Now Battle Cat, maybe they could have had someone else do Battle Cat or do the voice of Battle Cat. Who knows? But Cringer alone had Tony Baker's name written all over it, man. Um, and they just like they tried to. I mean, they had some funny lines in there, but man, Cringer, just the whole concept and just the setup and everything, man. That's like baked in comedy, you know. That's just comedy that's baked into He Man, you know. And even the lines right before, like when Cringer doesn't want to turn into Battle Cat, just go on YouTube, man. They have like all these videos of like Cringer where like he doesn't want to turn into Battle Cat, and he'll say like the funniest shit, man. He'll be like, "Oh, I was afraid you would say that." Right? Like Adam will come along and be like, he said, "All right." He's like, "Man, this looks like a job for He-Man." And then Cringer will be like, "Oh, well, yeah, I was afraid you would say that." Right? Or he'll say something like, "Uh-oh, I'm starting to feel funny in the tummy." Like a little stupid shit, you know? Or he'll be like, I don't wanna. I just wanna go. Can't we just let somebody else do it? I don't wanna. And then He-Man will be like, oh, come on, you big pussy cat. I was afraid you would say that. And then boom, turn into fucking Battle Cat. Start talking all this shit. Raw, raw, come on, He-Man. Raw. Yeah, get him with the 1-2. Hey, look at me, you big bozo. I'm over here. Oh, like he start talking all that shit, man. That shit be hilarious, man. That should be funny, man. But yeah, but Masters of the Universe, man, they dropped the ball on that, man. Man, yeah. So yeah, I felt like I said when I was in there, like my hopes, like when I saw the poster of Battle Cat, my hopes got up, and that's my fault, right? I should have lowered my expectations. I should have lowered my expectations, man. I should have been like, yeah, they gonna fuck this up, but I didn't. I was like, oh, this Battle Cat looks interesting. Okay, okay. I got into the theater and I'm like, okay, we see baby Cringer. And I'm like, okay, nigga, where's Cringer at? Every scene, I'm like, yo, where the fuck is Cringer? We not gonna do Cringer? Okay, is he gonna pop up in there? So I was like, okay, maybe what's gonna happen is when he turn into He-Man, Cringer gonna come out and then he gonna at least get the power and then point the power to turn Cringer into Battle Cat. That's what I thought. And when they come up with this bullshit, and I'm just like, man, when I saw that shit unfold, I'm just like in the theater, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. And then you had people like Threads. Here's the thing, right? Like Threads is gonna get me in trouble because on Threads I was in my feelings, right? And then people were like, I put a post up, and then some people were like, you know how people like look, right? Y'all may see this video and y'all can comment or whatever on whatever. I don't care. But it's like when if you put an idea out there like on Instagram or like on Twitter or whatever, people like when they can just text something back, it's easier for people to like not really commit to what they're saying, right? So they'll talk more shit, you know? So they were like, no, 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 they got it right. They got it right. I was like, in what universe did they get any of this shit right besides the costumes? Right? So I was like, nah, yo, they did Cringer dirty in this, man. And they used him for marketing, man. Like they used him as the mascot for the joint. Right? Like they had him in the armor and shit on the posters. And I knew when they weren't like when they did the whole transformation and then when they weren't showing Cringer and when they weren't like showing who was voicing them, I was like, yeah, this they fucking around. I was like, yeah, they gonna do something. It's gonna be something weird. And that was all marketing. Cringer was purely marketing for them to get people to help people get into the theaters. Like when you see the Green Tiger, it's like, oh shit, they got Cringer. Like this is the first movie they had Cringer in. Well, they in the other live action. Now I don't know what that was, but this was the first live action I think where they had like a Green Tiger, and you were like, yo, like when I look, ask all my friends, like ask people like on random fandom, man. Like I was psyched when I saw Cringer. Like I even told them, I said, look, they get Cringer right, I'm cool, right? But they didn't. So what are your thoughts, right? Y'all can put in the chat that I'm full of shit or whatever. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Put it in the chat. Like, you know what I'm saying? What were your thoughts, right? Like, for those, like, I want to know if you never saw Masters of the Universe or never saw He-Man, what were your thoughts on Cringer? And if you grew up on He-Man and watched, if you grew up on that, were you satisfied with how they depicted Cringer? If so, why? Because I wasn't, man. Like I damn near want them just to go ahead and just reboot the shit. And it sucks because the casting was great. Like I thought they did a great job with all the act. I felt the actors brought everything they needed to bring to the roles, but I felt like the writers, you know, dropped the ball. You know, um, it's almost like I want to see them reboot this with the same cast. You know, which is hard to do, right? So I feel bad for the cast because I felt like it could have been way more than what it is. Like it was an entertaining movie, you know, like it was entertaining, but a lot of just lazy writing and just bad decisions, in my opinion, right? And then also now for all my real He-Man fans out there, like like you still got more allies, right? You still got more allies in He-Man. Like you got Stratos, and then you got Cyclone, and you still got who else? Buzz Off. Where are they at? Right? Like where how are they gonna like how are they gonna get discovered in Eternia, or where are they at? You know? What's gonna be the story to bring them in? It's like I feel like everything is gonna be like way too forced, you know, moving forward. So visually, like I said in my last live stream, visually everything was on point, man. With the exception of Cringer, right? They could have they could have done something I felt visually to um enhance or to make Cringer represent what he was supposed to represent in the cartoon or in any other previous versions of He-Man, right? But man, they should have just did classic Cringer, man, and instead it's like it was all marketing. It was marketing. They just said let's get a green tiger and put him in there so we can get the marketing and get people in to get butts and seats, right? So really all Cringer and Battle Cat were to this movie was a mascot. That's all it was. That's all he was. So yeah, like I said, I'm disappointed. Um, but it's my fault, right? This is me having accountability. Like I said earlier, this is me having accountability. When I saw the posters, I got my hopes up, but this ain't it. This ain't it. So, um, I think that's all I really wanted to hit on with Cringer, man. It's not it's not my typical long-winded live stream or whatever. But what are your thoughts, man, about Cringer in the comments? This specifically about Cringer. Um, what are your thoughts, man? I felt like a lot of comedy was missed, right? If they got the details with the He-Man laugh and everything else throughout the movie, if they got Cringer right, man, that would have probably got the biggest laugh in in the movie, right? Like Cringer when he's scared, you know, part of him as being part of the transformation of going into Battle Cat, but they just kind of smushed him into the movie to say, yeah, we put Cringer in there, right? It's like it's like when someone can't cook and they try to make the shit look pretty and they put a cherry on top of the shit, like or like for example, like when people like at my job, right? Not at this job, but at another job, right? Where people bring in their little dry cookies and shit. They bring in their dry cookies and their little muffins. Yeah, you can tell they don't know how to cook. And then they'll come in with the cookies and shit, and then they'll try to make the shit look pretty, but the foundation of the cookies or whatever, it just ain't it. And it's like, bro, all you had to do was just not make the cookies, right? Or, you know, yeah. So like I said, man, I didn't yeah. If you like the movie and if you like Cringer, man, good for you. I'm just telling you, it fell way short of what my expectations were. Because you got to keep in mind, man, I grew up off He-Man, first cartoon I ever watched. I still got my Cringer and Battle Cat at home. You know, Matter of fact, I might, when I go home to visit, I might bring Cringer and He-Man back up here, even though I should leave them toys in the shed. But you know, it is what it is. You know. But yeah, feel like I've said all. I feel like I've said all that I needed to say on this. Um, that's all I really got. So yeah, what are y'all thoughts, man? I think I asked y'all like 5 times already, right? So it is what it is.
Let's go.
Put your comments in the section. I mean, put your comments. Put your comments in the chat, whatever, or chat. If you got something you want to say, not messing this all up bad. If you got something you want to say, man, put it in the chat. If not, put it in the comments, man. I'm dying to hear what your thoughts are on this. Because I've heard no one talk about Cringer, man. And to me, that was like, if they got that one thing just right, I would give this Masters of the Universe a pass. I would have given them a pass. But because they fucked up Cringer, I'm like, nah. I'm like, I gotta go in. Right? I gotta go in. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. AT is where it's at. Most forms of social media. Yeah, man. And that's all I got. So without further ado, I'm out here, folks.
Tripping with Theo Bowl.